welcome everybody. I'm here with the fantastic MaryAnne Bennie, who is the author of From Stuffed to Sorted and Paper Flow, and she has been wonderful enough to join us this morning live via Skype from Melbourne. And MaryAnne, first of all, just tell me a little bit about what you do to help people. I know that you come from a place of really wanting to help people. What is it that you specifically want to help them with?
I help people free themselves from what I call the tyranny of clutter. And that clutter could be household clutter or it could be paper clutter. So my book Paper Flow is all about how to rid people of paper clutter and how to create a system around that. And From Stuff to Sorted is all about the house. So how to clean up the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen, so that you live a fuller life and a freer life.
I think sometimes we don't realise just how much clutter we have around us. You know, when you walk into, when you've been overseas, say, and you come back into your house and you haven't been around for a while, and you notice, you see it all in a different kind, from a different perspective. Why do you think that we tend to hold on to these types of things in our lives?
Oh, there's two parts of that. The first part's the acquisition. It's so easy to acquire stuff. There's stuff coming at us from every angle. We go through the shops and there's things screaming at us, buy me, buy me, buy me, and they're so cheap and you know, we're in an affluent society. So the acquisition is really easy and coming at us. You know, we don't even have to leave the house anymore. We just buy it online and it gets delivered to us. Yeah. The second thing of acquisition is there's so much rapid obsolescence. You know, things are out of date very quickly. You just get your iPhone 3 and the iPhone 4's come out and, you know, the old one's still good. You know, we don't wear things out anymore. We simply continue to acquire. And, you know, I look back at my mum's generation and it was always about replacement. You know, when something broke, you replaced it.
Exactly.
But we just continue to buy sort of duplicate purchases. And then the second part of that is to the acquisition is the disposal. And lots of places won't take your old stuff anymore. They're over, you know, you can't get rid of a television set anymore. You know, and people don't want to put things into landfills. So sometimes the disposal becomes really, really difficult as well.
Exactly. I'm just thinking about an old heater that I've got in my spare room, which has been there for about at least 2 years because I don't really know what to do with it. It doesn't work anymore, but I'm like, where do I put it? So what's the most common problem that you see when you first meet a client?
Overwhelmed. The people are overwhelmed by their stuff. They've tried sorting things out themselves and they're getting into bigger messes. They don't understand the basic principles of organising. They understand tidying. They know that they can take something out of a cupboard, they can clean the cupboard, they can replace it. That's what I call tidying. But they don't understand that organising is very, very different to tidying. It's about thinking about where things should be, how much of anything that you should have and how then best to store it and where is the best place to store it. So there's a whole process around being and getting organised that's very different to doing the quick tidy up so that superficially everything looks clean, but behind closed doors everything is manic.
And what is the benefit of putting the time and effort into organising your life?
It's the sustainability of it and the amount of money and time you save on a day-to-day basis. It saves you, you're not buying duplicate purchases because you know what you've got and, you know, you're not looking for things all the time, so you're saving that time. You feel confident. There's an amazing confidence that comes over you when everything is in place and in order and you feel that you're on top of your stuff. And what that does is it frees this space in your head and in your heart to pursue your dreams. And I hear so many people say, when I get organised or as soon as I get organised, I'm going to start that job or I'm going to start that course or I'm going to travel overseas or I'm going to look for a partner. But the disorganisation keeps them stuck in this horrible place called the past. And it stops them from being in the moment and it stops them from moving into the future.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that. And I guess you've got this wonderful concept which is called innate. So tell us about innate. What is that all about?
Okay, well, innate is just simply a process of going through organising your stuff. And you start off by initiating the process. It's like turning on the ignition key in your car. You've decided, you make this conscious choice, I'm going to get more organised. And and then you set up some goals and some timelines and maybe a budget to do that. So we're not going to get organised overnight. So it's unrealistic to think that you can do that. So once you've initiated or turned on the button, the second step is that you need to investigate. And this is a really funny phase in that you actually go through your house and you look at everything through the eyes of a stranger. You pretend you've never seen it before, and you walk in and you open up the cupboards and you get down on your hands and knees and you look under the bed and you reacquaint yourself with where you've thrown stuff and put stuff, and, and to get a sense of, firstly, you get a wonderful sense of what you've got and the enormity maybe of the issue. Secondly, you find pockets of places where you go, oh my goodness, everything in there can go. And so you actually create new storage. You find little opportunities that you may have thought the house is full, but oh no, that we don't go skiing anymore. And I've got, 2 big bags of ski stuff that can go. So you find opportunities and you find little pockets of space. After you've done that, you then have to decide on what area you're going to work on. And any area that you work on, the first thing you must do is consolidate. And that's bringing like things together. And I'm a great advocate of doing small sections at a time. So it may well be that you just go into I love people starting on their cutlery drawer because it's already semi-organised. And all the principles of the cutlery drawer are the principles we need to apply in every space in our house. There's a space that's just called the spoon section. There's a space for the knives and the forks and the gadgets. So this is what we need to do in our entire house. So once we've consolidated, we need then to eliminate the excesses. And that's about looking at, okay, how much is enough of any category? How many jackets do I need? How many pairs of gloves do I need? How many pairs of knickers do I need? And then eliminating from what you've decided you need the excesses. And so once you've eliminated all that, you need to then think, well, okay, now that I've got 20 pairs of undies, where's the best place? You allocate the best possible location for that category. So it may be the top drawer of a dresser, and 20 will take a small section, so you'll put a container in there that hold the 20 undies that you wear all the time, and you might have a couple of fluffy pairs that you wear for special occasions. They're a little Ziploc bag to the back of that. So that's your allocate. And then you activate it, and that's when you actually do the do. You actually do, you might have to empty out that drawer to make space, and you put in the things that you're doing, so you activate. And then after you've done that, you just simply evaluate. And so that's your 7th step. You just evaluate to see how it's working. And if it's working, you leave it. If it's not quite working, you do a little tweak or final adjustment. And the 8th step of the 8 steps is simply to celebrate. And yay! And part of celebrating your new formed organised undies is to then maintain the system. So as you buy a new pair of undies, another pair has to go out. So that you're constantly maintaining the system. So that's what the whole innate is about, creating a system around your own innate style using an 8-step process.
Wonderful. And is there also an element of that where you talk about working in 8 minutes?
There are some little techniques that Innate has, and there's 8 of them, needless to say. And one of the favourite ones of everybody's is what we call Innate minutes. And, I've got probably about 7 little 8-minute timers all over my house. I've got one upstairs. I've got one in the bathroom. I've got one in my bedroom, one in my bathroom. I've got one in the kitchen, one in my office. And so anytime I'm sitting there and I'm procrastinating, it might be, I need to do the dishes, or I need to tidy up or chop up some vegetables. I go, okay, I'm going to do them in 8 minutes. Set the timer and go, go, go. And it's amazing how much you can get done in a short power burst when you're under the clock. And very often people will get a phone call where people say, we're going to pop in and see you on our way home from work, or we'll be there shortly. You know that you can get the whole house clean in 8 minutes if you have to. So it's that same principle applied to lots of little jobs that you tend to procrastinate or put off or delay.
I remember reading once that happiness is about making progress.
Oh.
And I think when there is such a sense of achievement when you do those little things, even if it is as simple as you say, doing the cutlery drawer or the knicker drawer, you feel like you've really made forward progress, and that just gives you a sense of happiness and achievement. And I think it's so important, and we just don't take the time to do it.
Well, the beautiful thing about that is that if you look at your whole house, it's too much to take on. It's like, how do you climb a mountain one step at a time? How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So it's really about every small success is part of progress, and we actually then feel this sense of happiness and achievement. And then you actually find in your heart more energy, sustained energy to go on to do something else. And I know when I do an 8-minute power burst, and it may be like getting through my emails. I've got, my email box might have just filled to capacity, and I go, okay, I've just got to really get down to those emails, and I'll write down how many emails I have. So it might be like 152. So I write that down, and then I go 8 minutes, and I folder some, I answer some, I delete some, and boom, boom, boom. And then I go, oh, but I still haven't got down far enough. Let's do another 8 minutes, and then you try to beat your personal best.
Well, MaryAnne, that's really special to you. Being your personal best in turn tackling emails. But I love that enthusiasm that you have for that, and really realizing that it's so possible to achieve so much in such a short amount of time.
It is. And I've seen people organise their entire homes, and I'm not telling a lie, their entire homes in small 8-minute power bursts that tend to link together. So it might be 6 8-minute power bursts, but they've said, okay, I'm going to grab 8, or they might do it in series of 8 items. They might just grab 8 T-shirts out of their wardrobe and make decisions about those.
Great. I love that. It's so manageable.
And that's so doable. You can do that, even as you go and get dressed in the morning, if you allow a little bit of extra time, you can simply say, I'm going to, whatever you're going to wear, pick that item out of the wardrobe, and then just simply look at the items either side and make a decision about those two things. And there's lots of little ways that you can just slither bits of organisation into your day without making it this grand job, this big to-do. It's just lovely having it as lots of small components that then become a part of your day rather than, an add-on to what you're doing.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Well, thank you so much for sharing your absolute incredible wisdom in this topic area. I for one, feel very much inspired to go out and attack in 8-minute power bursts, as you call them. Is there anything else that you would like to add in terms of maybe I think maybe that is one of your best tips to give us in having those 8-minute power bursts, but is there anything else that you'd like to tell everybody?
Look, my book is amazing, and we've got a support group that goes with the book. So having some assistance and having a structure around which you do things is a really fabulous thing. So, getting from stuff to sorted or paper flow, and then joining the Facebook communities that both of those have gives you an opportunity to interact with other people in the same boat as you have, and you don't feel so alone and so isolated. And so doing it with others is my very next best tip.
It's such a great idea, and it just gives you, when you see other people being successful, it inspires you to, if you think, well, if they can do that, then I can do that.
Yeah, well, I see on Facebook where some people will say, okay, I'll race you. Let's do an 8-minute each and tell each other what we've done in that 8 minutes. It's just hysterical.
That's fantastic. Well, MaryAnne, thank you so much again for today, and I'm sure I'm going to see you again soon, and thank you again for sharing your time with us today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.